Hello, moms and dads, boys and girls. I'm excited for another opportunity for us to jump into Scratch Junior. We had such a cool workshop this past weekend with a bunch of boys and girls. And while my name is Mr. O, I got called Mr. Oval quite a lot. And to be honest, I kind of like it. So we can stick with that. If you want to call me Mr. Oval, you go ahead. If you want to call me anything else that starts with an O, Mr. Oil, Mr. Oh no, whatever it might be, you just let me know. Well, today we're going to be looking in at a very special topic on horses. Can we do coding with horses? Thought we could only ride horses, and in some countries they eat horses. Thankfully not this one too much. So today we're not going to be thinking about eating horses. We're going to be thinking about how we can use coding to learn a little bit about perspective and events when it comes to coding. So first, we've got tick. If you are on Scratch Junior on a mobile device, this might look a little bit different. You're probably starting with Scratch the cat. Whether it's Scratch or tick or tack or toe, whoever it might be, you can just do a long press on the character over here and tap the X, and there you go. It's gone just like that. So let's start off by adding in our, we're going to add in our backdrop first. Do you remember where we add in our backdrop? That's right, just over here. So I'm going to tap on this photo of lovely hills. And from here, we're going to be able to find something that looks a little bit like a farm. Of course, you can choose whichever one you would like. I'm looking for one that maybe has some fields that our horses would love to just wander about in. So I'm going to choose this one in the top left-hand corner for me. Again, if you're on an iPad or an Android device, you've probably got a whole lot more of these. So once I have tapped that, I can click it. Remember, I can also go ahead and paint it and change any of the colors that I want. If I wanted to get rid of something, like maybe I don't want those trees, well, goodbye trees. And they're gone. And then I tap the tick when I am ready. Okay, now it's time to start adding in some horses. I'm going to add in my first horse. You can already see one that I've done, but we're going to redo it together, don't worry. And I'm going to choose this lovely hazel brown horse, which has the appropriate name of horse. And I'm going to tap yes, that one, and let's drag this horse into the corner just over there, all looking very good. Horse, maybe you can program giving it a carrot or something like that, but I'm not going to do that now. Now I'm going to add in another horse, one that we change up a bit. So to do that, I'm going to tap on it once, and then I'm going to come over to the paintbrush, very similar to how we were doing with or how I got rid of those trees with the backdrop. Now I need to decide on a color. You could make yours whichever color you would like. I'm going to make sure I have my paint bucket tool over here selected, and then using that I can tap. Should we have a green horse? Okay, let's have a green horse. It wasn't going to be a green horse, but now it's a green horse. And what color hair should we give it? What about purple hair? That's pretty cool. Ooh, what about very pink hair? This is a very exciting horse. And what other colors? Oh, and pink hooves and an orange eye. That looks a bit creepy, actually. I'm going to change that back. There we go. And there is our second horse. Maybe we can have a whole story that this is an alien horse, or a horse that really likes to paint itself, or that other people like to paint, or maybe it's a whole new breed of horses. I don't know. Either way, we've got our horse in now. And remember the trick that we use if we wanted to face the other way? I'm going to grab one of these arrows in our blue section, and I just tap it once, and there we go. Now it is facing the right way. I actually also want it to be a little bit smaller so they're not the same size. And we're going to be using this changing size thing quite a bit. So it's here under our pink section. I'm going to drag in this one that shows shrinking or getting smaller. I'll tap it once. That's good for now. And I'm going to put it all the way down there. Now we have a little bit of perspective. We can see that these two look like they're pretty much the same size. Oh, I don't want to delete it just yet. Okay, so we're going to put it there. And now when I want to code my horse, this one specifically, I've got to make sure that I have it selected. I can see that I do by the white outline, as well as seeing a nice big orange selection highlight over here. And now we need an event. Do you remember what an event is? An event tells our code when it should run. For example, when we click on the green flag, or when we tap on it, or when it bumps into another horse, or like we did this weekend when one sends a message in the background to another. We won't be using that one today, but we will in the future. It's a really fun one to get your head around and to start using. So we're going to be on our funny looking horse over here, this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to say when we tap on it. So I'll come over to the yellow tab, and when I tap on this horse, then whatever code is attached to this block is the code that is going to run. So this is the tap event, or the on tap event. So let's just make sure that it's working. I'm going to grab one that says go that way 3 times, or 3 blocks. I mean, we can really see exactly how much it's moving if we put this grid line on, and then we'll see it's going to move 1, 2, 3 blocks. Somewhere over there when I tap it. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, so now we know that that is working. Our on tap event is working. And now every time I do that, it's going to keep doing that, which might get a little bit maybe frustrating. A lot of things in coding do get frustrating, but we don't give up on them. That's also one of the cool things about coding, that you can even just stop for a little bit and then come back later, and then maybe you would have thought of something that will help it work. Okay, so what I want to happen here is I want to have this horse on the left making a neighing sound. Well, maybe not a sound. You can do the sound, but I'm just going to have it say neigh, as though it's disagreeing with something. Yay or nay, get it? Oh, never mind. Okay, so our horse over here, I've got to make sure I've got it selected. And I'm going to say when we tap the green flag up here, then I want it to say neigh. So to do that, I've come over to the pink section. I'm going to click that on there, or pop that on there rather, and I'm going to have it shout neigh. Oh, that's quite loud. Good heavens. Let's see if that works. Neigh. Okay, great. And then for this horse, you know what? I think instead of us tapping it, because we've got this other horse saying something, let's use that same event. When we tap on the green flag event. So now when we tap on the green flag, then it moves at the same time. Notice that if I tap on the green flag down here, which I see a lot of people doing, then it only runs the code for this character, not all of them. And we want it to run for all of them. Okay. So next we're going to have our horse running off into the distance. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but when it comes to drawing or creating, like if we look at these trees that are far off in the background, they look really small, but they're actually most likely bigger than our horses. Even if we stacked our horses on top of each other, as you know, you sometimes do when you want to store your horses, then they're not even going to be as tall as those trees, but they look tiny over there. That's called perspective. So we're going to try to use that to make it look like our strangely colored painted horse is running off into the distance. Then we're eventually going to have it turn and run into a barn and disappear as it goes into the barn. We'll attach all of that on this when I tap the green flag event. So we already have it moving forward a bit. Let's have it move up a bit. So it's technically moving up on the screen, but we're going to try to make it look like it is moving away. So I've come over to the pink one over here, and then I'm grabbing the shrink, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to try 1. Normally, or the default is 2. Let's see what 1 looks like and start our animation. Okay. That's working a little bit and a little bit. We can even make this a little bit more, making it go away a little bit further. Of course, you can try your own values and you can let me know what you used, and then I would love to see what worked really well for you. So I'm going to say go up that way a bit, and then shrink a bit, and then go that way a bit, and then shrink a bit. And hold on, we're starting to repeat some things. And when we repeat, we can start to use a loop. If you remember where a loop is, or if you haven't used one before, it's here under the orange section. And this is a very special kind of block that we can put other blocks inside, and whatever is inside here, it will repeat as many times as we tell it to. It makes our job of coding just go a whole lot easier and a whole lot quicker. So instead of having to do that 5 or 4 or however many times, I can just say it just drag in those blocks once and then it will repeat it. So let me drag this in again, and I'm going to say go up and go that way and then shrink, and it should do that 4 times. Let's see how that's looking so far. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I think that's starting to work already. And you know what? Let's try 2. Let's just see, because it is going far off in the distance and it does look like it would be a little bit too big to be only that small, that far away. Okay, that works. I think that kind of works, right? What do you think? Maybe yours is going to look a lot better. After it's done that, I want it to go in this direction towards this side, and then I want it to walk into, not into a barn, through the door of the barn. It wouldn't be very nice if it just walked into the side of a barn and bumped its head. And I mean, it's a bit of a strange horse, so maybe it does do things like that. I'm going to come looking for a barn. I don't know if you saw that, but I'm going to add it as another character. So I'm going to scroll on down and look for a barn. Ooh, I suppose you could make yours go into an igloo or a castle. That would be pretty fun. I'm going to stick with a barn because that's what I would expect to see on a farm. Or maybe it runs into a whirlwind or a tornado. Ooh, okay. So I'm adding that in, and as we can see, it's way too big at the moment. So we're going to use our little shrinking trick where we come over here. We're going to tap that a few times so that it looks, that looks about the right size. And I also want it to be facing the other direction. So I'm just going to grab that once and do that. There we go. Now it's facing the right direction and it looks like it's the right size for our horse to be able to run into. So now what I need to say and the code I need to attach on this barn is nothing. Well, you could do whatever you wanted with it. But what I want to happen is on this horse, or this sprite, or this object is what you'll hear us say in coding a lot of the time. And we need a whole new event here to say when this horse bumps into another character, in this case the barn, then it should disappear. So let's see how we do that. Well, we'll come over to our events once again, and we've got a very special event over here that we can see. It says start on bump horse. So if the horse bumps into anything, any other characters, then this is what happens. So we've got to be careful that it doesn't bump into the other horse, because then it's just going to disappear, which would look a little bit strange, but also be kind of funny. Yeah, so when it bumps into another character, then it should disappear. Just like that. Okay, because we've got this block that says disappear, I'm just going to add in one all the way at the start of our code here to make sure that when we start our program, that our colorful painted horse can actually be seen, is visible. Let's see what this looks like so far. No! And there it runs off, and oh, great. Okay, cool. So that's looking good. Our horse just hasn't run far enough yet to go into the barn. So I'm going to increase this number. How much do you think? 5, 10, 4? Let's try 5. Of course, you can try your own one because yours is going to be in all sorts of different places. That looks a little bit better on the ground. And let's make this nice and big, and let's see how it's turned out and if it all works. There we go, neigh, and it runs off into the distance. We can see from the perspective, and there we go. It manages to run into the barn, not hurt itself, but thankfully go through the open door. And there we go. Okay, so during this project, we learned what the algorithm would be for getting our horse to run off into the distance and run into the open door of the barn. Remember, an algorithm is a set of steps that we follow to achieve something or to do something. We used loops, and we also used a whole lot of events like touch the green flag. And we, at the start, used when we tap on a character. Otherwise, we also used when this character bumps into something else, then it should do something. And that helped us to understand a little bit more about perspective. Now, you can take this a lot further, and you can have your horses run all over the place. You can have them tell a story to each other. You could maybe have a farmer calling out to the horses to go over there. Ooh, you could even go ahead and find another character like a wizard who could maybe ride on the horse, and looks like this wizard is trying to get that horse to go and disappear, and maybe that's how it does it, by sending it into the barn. Either way, do whatever you would like. Please let me know if you did come up with something cool. I would love to see it. Otherwise, that's it from me, Mr. Oval. Thank you, and have a fantastic day further. Bye-bye.